Welcome to Have a Little Faith. In a world that feels heavy, there's still so much good. Have a Little Faith is here to shine light on the people who inspire, uplift, and quietly change the world. Proof that help and kindness are still alive. I'm Faith James, and I'm here to shed light on those stories. Is Faith from Have a Little Faith, and today I have a guest, Susan, and she is part of LifeWise Academy. So, Susan, why don't you tell us a little bit about what LifeWise Academy is about, and then I'll just kind of follow up with a couple other questions.
Sure. Thanks, Faith, for having me on. I really appreciate it. So LifeWise Academy is a Bible-based character education program that takes place during school hours. So we're not a before after school program, we're during school. And a lot of people wonder, how is that even legal? But it actually is, and it's been legal since 1952 with a Supreme Court ruling in Clausen versus Zorak that said as long as three things are kept in place, it has to be take place off school campus. It has to be privately funded, and we have to have parent permission, then it's completely legal. So that's what we do. We're fairly new here in the area, but yeah, we're having a great time getting started here.
So when did LifeWise start? Like, who founded it? When did it start? Was it started here in Tennessee or somewhere else?
Yeah, so LifeWise started in about 2018, 2019 in Ohio, actually. Joel Penton is our CEO and founder, and he kind of partnered with another organization that sort of had the same idea, and they just joined forces and kind of created LifeWise Academy, and it's taken off. Like their first goal was by 2025, they wanted to be in 25 schools, and we're in almost 1,000. So we very much surpassed our goal. And so, but as far as Rutherford County, we just started last spring. So in March, it'll be our 1-year anniversary for launching. And we just did a pilot program last year at one elementary school. And we did one grade and just with 12 kids, and it went really well. So this year, at the beginning of the school year, we started in 5 schools, and we serve almost 100 kids. And we're looking to expand into 5 new schools every year. So, and actually LifeWise some people think it's just for elementary school, but it actually goes all the way through high school. So for elementary school, that's usually a great place to start. So that's what we've done. But this next year, we want to implement it in 2 middle schools, and then the following year in 1 high school, and just kind of continue that trend until we've reached all the schools in our area.
Awesome. So in just Tennessee, in this area, you have about 5 schools right now?
Just in Rutherford County. We also have programs in Wilson County and Williamson County. It's huge in Memphis, the Memphis area. There's a lot going on there. I think Bedford County is trying to get started, maybe. Moore County. There's quite a few around that in Tennessee that have LifeWise. But I'm the director for Rutherford County, so that includes Rutherford County schools and also Murfreesboro City schools.
Okay. And do you know how many schools in the grander scheme? Like you said, started in Ohio. Like how many states and around about how many schools
Yes.
they are in now?
Now it's always moving, it's always changing, but the last time I checked, it was about, I think we're active in 32 states and approved in, I want to say 36 states, which that means there's some that are planning on starting. They just haven't actually started yet, but they've got everything in place to start. And then we're in 900 something schools. And by the end of the school year, we're going to be in over 1,000 schools. So it's definitely growing very quickly. And really what we say is we have a secret sauce, which is gospel centered. It's not so secret, but it's gospel centered and community driven. And then we try to do everything with excellence. So the community driven part is super important to us because we want to serve the community. And the reason we're here is because I wasn't even involved in the very first part of it when they put a steering committee together and things like that, because they one of the people on the steering committee heard Joel Penton, our CEO, on a podcast talking about it, and they're like, "Oh, we need this in our community." And so
Mhm.
they got a group together and they raised a little money and got, a little attention that way, as far as, hey, we're actually serious about this. And so then, I was like, I think there's like a 10-step program, and I was like probably step 8 or 9 of hiring me. So
Yeah.
they had already done a lot of groundwork, just seeing, getting people interested. And there's a community interest list that we keep when people go to our website and they say, yes, I want this in my community. And so we've got a lot of interest in almost every school. They're always adding schools around here because we're
Yeah.
growing so fast. But I think we're like at 68 schools or something now. But
Wow.
um, but anyway, so they just kept this community interest list. So I just kind of look at those and just see what schools have the most interest from the community, and then I approach them and just say, hey, we'd like to partner with you and bring this to our community through that school. So, and really, I guess I should explain how that works exactly, because the schools, yes, we want their blessing and approval, but Tennessee is a shall state. So there are may states and shall states. So a may state says you may allow it if you want. The shall state says you shall allow it if there is interest, if someone wants to start one. But we also don't want to be bullies. I mean, we are a character education program, right? And we don't want to bully our
Mhm.
way into anything.
Yeah.
So our goal is to partner with these schools, with the teachers, with the administrators, and just help our school system as far as reaching these kids, teaching them character, which all, like, we had a third party study that showed that kids involved in LifeWise Academy, their attendance goes up, their grades go up, their behavior issues go down. As far as suspensions and detentions, they go down. And so
Mhm.
it's just a win-win
Yeah.
situation. And so that's what we want to bring to our schools. And when the kids are better behaved, the teachers can actually teach what they're supposed to be teaching, right? Reading, writing,
Mhm.
arithmetic. And so that's what we want to help them do. And so what we do is in order to follow those 3 rules that I said, in order for it to be legal, we pick the kids up at school during usually their related arts time, which is when they've got music, art, library. LifeWise is just another option. And we meet once a week, and they're usually on a 5 or 7 day rotation, which means they're not
Okay.
going to be missing like the same class every week, usually how it's set up. So they're still going to get those other activities. And since it's completely voluntary, the parents are the ones who sign them up. So if they sign them up, they know that this is when we're meeting, and we pick the kids up during that time. We take them to a host site, which is usually a church. It's not always a church. We have one that doesn't meet at a church, but the others do. And we
Mhm.
conduct our class, and then we take them back before that class period's over, and they go on their way for the rest of the day. So that's kind of how
Okay.
the logistics work on that.
And you said it's community based, so I'm assuming that means you need volunteers, teachers,
Yes.
probably assistant teachers. You said a bus. You have buses, so bus drivers. So,
Yes.
what exactly are you looking for? What are the criterias? If you want to
Mhm.
go into that for the teachers, assistant teachers, and bus drivers.
Yes, definitely. We always are needing people, and we're always needing funding since we are privately funded. So that's just something that's going to be a consistent need all the way through. But as far as our teachers, they have to have 2 years classroom experience. That can be in the traditional classroom. It could be homeschool setting. It could be a Sunday school setting, a church, something along those lines. And then we have volunteers that we have classroom volunteers, and we also have program volunteers. So a classroom volunteer would obviously be in the classroom every week with the teacher. And then a program volunteer is someone who's like, I really love this mission, but I don't know if the classroom's where I want to be, but I want to help in some way, like maybe with events or things along those lines. So, and then board members, they definitely help. It's a working board. So we plan things, we fundraise, we do all those kinds of things. And then our last, I guess, volunteer position, it's not necessarily volunteer, but it can be volunteer or paid, is a CDL bus driver. Because yes, we have our own bus, which is, you can kind of, right there. It's actually full size though. This is just a replica, but it looks just like that. It's red and it's got LifeWise Academy across it and everything. And one of our host site churches, Life Point Church, actually did a fundraiser and raised the money for us to buy that bus and get it painted and decaled and all that. So you might see that around town sometimes.
Yeah.
But in order to use that, we have to have a CDL bus driver, which just, yeah, we want to do everything above board and make sure, the children's safety is most important. So that all, and every single one of those positions I mentioned, they all start with a pastoral reference. So you have to have that. We do background checks on everyone. Every single person, whether you're going to be around a child or not, goes through our training for child abuse awareness and mandatory reporter training, just
Hmm.
because we do interact with kids. So even if you're not doing it on a weekly basis, there might be a time when you are around that. So we just want everybody to have all that training. And then, of course, our CDL bus drivers, they are background checked, but they also do drug screening, and it can be random, that kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
And then, sometimes we have to rent a bus and a driver because we only have one bus and we have lots of
Yeah.
places we have to get to. So if anyone has any kind of, we would love to connect with some churches that have buses or vans or something along those lines. That would be so great. Or even just, other organizations that agree with our mission that want to help us out. That's a big need for us right now,
Hmm.
for sure. And it's hard to find because that's, a rigorous training.
Yeah.
You have to keep it up for your CDL driver license and stuff. So that kind of is, and as far as another aspect for child safety is we always have to have two adults and the teacher present with the children at all times. There's never an adult allowed with a child alone ever. So we always have basically three adults because it's a teacher plus two volunteers with them at all times. And we just try to put everything in place, to keep everyone safe and so we can have a good time. And we do site safety inspections and make sure even the site is good. And we use the same chart as far as emergency procedures that the schools do so that the kids are used to those and they already kind of know what those are and what they mean, just so we can kind of keep a continuity, a consistency for them as well.
Okay. Um, I do want to kind of take it back. For those who are parents
Mhm.
and are maybe interested in having their child join, kind of what are you teaching? What's the curriculum like? I know you said there's different age ranges. Um,
Yes.
so yeah,
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So for the elementary school and a little bit in the middle school, we use the Gospel Project. And the Gospel Project, a lot of people I've found are familiar with that. A lot of churches use it and that kind of
Hmm.
thing. So we use the Gospel Project and they have videos. They always have a Jesus connection. So no matter what the lesson is, it always connects back to Jesus. And it has a memory verse that goes along with it. And obviously a character quality because we're a character education program. So let's say we're talking about the Garden of Eden and how um, I'm not sure if this is an actual character quality with the lesson, but
Yeah.
I know obedience is one of them. So obedience, they disobey God, and why is obedience important? For an example,
Hmm.
but also gratitude. I know gratitude's. I think that's the first one. First gratitude or first character quality they learn about, and so we just teach these kids how that character quality relates to the lesson, and then we actually teach them how to apply it. So let's say it is gratitude, and we go back. When they're going back to school, we say, when you go back, look for someone, maybe a friend did something really nice for you, and show them that you're very thankful for that, and show them gratitude, or for your teacher, for what they do. And a great story that I love sharing is one of our kids after the gratitude lesson, they wrote a little note to their mom and put it on her pillow. And the dad saw
Oh.
it and said, what's this about? So the child told the dad, and the dad was like, that's so great. And he went out and got a card and flowers for the mom and added it to her pillow with the child's note. So I just think that's so fun because, and that's
Yeah.
our goal is we don't want it to just affect the child, but we want them to take it back home, and it affects the whole family, which affects our community and just makes it better and
Hmm.
stronger. And so then when they go into elementary school, we still use that, but the videos that we show are I think it's called the Gospel Project. And so it's just a little more mature, I guess you'd say, as far as it's because the
Mhm.
other ones, the videos might be like bag puppets or fun
Yeah.
things for
More
elementary.
for kids. Yeah.
Yeah, but middle school might not be so into that. So the Bible project is more like whiteboard drawing and leading through a story or how the Bible connects to the other parts of the Bible,
Mhm.
things like that. And then for high school, we partner with Summit Ministries, which some might be
Okay.
familiar with that. And so we do worldview classes. And the cool thing about that is they can earn a 1 hour credit as an elective when they take our class, the worldview class
Oh,
for that. So we're trying to think of all the things that would be, pertinent and relatable to the kids. And
yeah.
so that's kind of how that goes.
So, you did say you guys do, community activities. I do know you said you had a fundraiser coming up. Can you tell
Yes.
me a little bit about what the fundraiser well, I guess when it is and, uh, how people can get involved in that? And then if you have
Yes.
anything else coming up, um, if you wanna share about that as well.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. We just had our night of prayer. We try to do that at the beginning of every semester, so that's already passed. But that's a great time where we just get together and pray over the students and the families and the teachers, administrators, our churches, just all the different aspects in our community that are, that we touch. And then our evening of impact is on March 10th, and it's our first annual fundraiser, and we're really excited about it. We're going to have, I don't know if some of your audience might have heard of Erskine, but he's going to be our MC and special music guest. And so it's just going to be a time of music and dinner and sharing some testimonials. And we're putting some videos together right now that just kind of, so we're able to share some of those great stories. And yeah, it's just a night where people can come find out more about who we are. And obviously, it's a fundraiser. So we're trying to raise funds for our needs. And if anyone's interested in that, they can just contact me at Susan Buback at LifeWise.org. And if you email me, then I can just send you the link so you can find out the details and RSVP.
That's awesome. Do you know what they kinda I guess what kind of food they're serving?
Yes, it is Aloha Barbecue. I think there's another
Ooh.
word in there. It's over off of Old Fort Parkway. It's really
Mhm.
good. Yeah, so there's like teriyaki chicken and fried rice and macaroni salad and I don't know, lots of good stuff.
Sounds delicious.
Yes,
So
I've
if
had
you
it
guys
before and
wanna
it's
eat
really
some
good.
good food, come hang
Yes,
out and enjoy and support.
definitely.
Um, so I guess to finish out, I just wanted to see if you could share any way for, either for parents or those who wanna volunteer to just get in contact with you. Maybe that's just through your email, um,
Yeah.
and anything you have social media-wise that you can
Yes.
share.
So we're on Facebook and Instagram, and it's sorry, I'm not on social media that much, but I believe it is LifeWise Rutherford TN, maybe. But you can find us if you just go
Mhm.
looking on, for Rutherford County and LifeWise. And then as far as if you want to apply for any of the positions or just find out more about us, watch maybe some videos, that kind of thing, sign a community interest list. You can go to lifewise.org/Rutherford County TN, and that's for our Rutherford County schools. If you happen to be in or interested for our program for Murfreesboro City School, you would do lifewise.org/Murfreesboro TN. And then again, if you want the national website, it's just lifewise.org, easy enough. And then
Yeah.
again, if you would like to contact me individually, it's Susan Buback at lifewise.org.
Awesome. And just to clarify, it's LIFEWISE.
Yes. So it's like
So,
wisdom for life,
yep.
lifewise.org. Yes.
So, I know you in the beginning you said sometimes people get it mixed up. So,
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure I spelled it out
Yes.
so people would know where to find you. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me, and I'm super excited about your fundraiser. Before we get off, is there any other needs or any other events coming up other than your impact night?
Right now, that's all we have. I know in the spring, we usually try to be at Borough Barbecue Fest and I think maybe Jazz Fest this year. So if you see us, come say hi and maybe you'll spot a red bus around town. And um, the thing I covet the most actually are prayers because, there's always going to be pushback, especially when you're sharing the gospel with kids. Satan
Mhm.
doesn't like that. So there's always pushback. So we covet your prayers and we just really appreciate your support and any kind of connection. Maybe even you're not necessarily, you don't have time or whatever to get involved, but you know someone that you're like, oh, they would so love this. This is right up their alley. Then just let them know about us and connect them to us. And so we always say there's connectors, doers, and funders. So a connector is just a person who connects us with other people that can help us out. And so those are just as important as the doers, which are the volunteers, et cetera, and obviously the funders. And so they're all super important to our mission, to our program. So I thank you for your support, and I thank you so much for letting me come on and just talk about
Yeah.
this and inform your audience. Since we are fairly new around here, we're still trying to raise awareness.
Thank you again. And this is Faith from Have a Little Faith. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for joining me and seeing the good. I hope these stories remind you that there's so much light in the world and that maybe, just maybe, you leave with a little more faith in humanity than you had before. This is Faith James, and you're listening to Have a Little Faith.